Picture of Dorian Gray is an American film that was released in 1915, not to be confused with the Russian film that was released the same year. That one is presumably lost. Hopefully, we can find it. Because I got to be honest, I thought I was watching the Russian film. Turns out this is the American film that was released by Thanhouser Company. Now, I'm a fan of the portrait of Dorian Gray. And if you're unfamiliar with it, it's about Dorian Gray. He received a portrait by a man, an artist named Basil. And this particular portrait shows how, his true self. It's like a deal with the devil and everything. It has like this symbolism of understanding true beauty and that kind of thing. Uh, Dorian in this one is in love with a Shakespeare actress. She confesses her love to him and everything, saying, "Yes, I truly love you," and everything. She messes up her lines and everything because of how deeply in love she is with Dorian. And the his friends are like, how how can you like her? I mean, and so he's humiliated by her and refuses to have, he says he hates her, and she tragically dies. Now, in this movie, again, it's 22 minutes long, and in this, it doesn't have the brothers' revenge in it. And I actually appreciate that they don't have the brothers' revenge in it because the main focus of the film is that Dorian, the main thing in the story anyway, is that he's being haunted by this painting and the struggle between him and Basil, because Basil is after him about his debauchery and everything, after the whole thing with him and this actress. He just goes nuts. And Basil is trying to bring him back to reality, and he's just so I appreciate that this director for Thanhouser removed that whole chunk. However, it did mention that he was uh doing, because there's that whole part in this story where he is part of his debauchery and everything is going to the opium dens. And I'm sure they wanted to put it in there, but censors being what they were at the time, they just said he turned to drugs and that's that, They they did what they could with the story. And I appreciate that they tried to put that in, squeeze it in there because again, that was part of his personality. That was part of Dorian Gray's personality with what he was doing. They showed the partying and kind of the womanizing as best they could with the censors, watching. And because again, that was part of the whole thing with him trying to be this rebellious guy, but at the same time having fits over this portrait taking over his life. And so um I tried to find reception to this film. I couldn't find anything. If I find anything, I'll of course put it in the description box. And it sounds like because this happens every once in a while, just like with Jekyll and Hyde, there were like three or four different films made of that story. It sounds like 1915, it was Picture of Dorian Gray. So now, again, I like the film. I'm glad that they cut out certain things that the brother's revenge for the actress didn't need to be in there because again, it's basically the artist Basil and Dorian, their fight, and then his struggle with this portrait. That's the main thing in this story. And the director did it so well. I was impressed. And again, this is the earliest known film of the picture of Dorian Gray until we find the Russian film. I hope we do. I really do. So anyway, this is the picture of Dorian Gray. It was released in 1915. It's an American film.